Welcome to the TCAD 10-Minute Take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don the Legend Chambers. As you know, this is the 10-Minute Take, which is the 10-minute version of the normal TCAD podcast, which Don hosts, and I'm the co-host. But in this version, we just do one spoiler-free movie review on one movie, and today's movie is Dolemite is my name.
That's right,
On
Dolemite.
Netflix. I don't have a timer because I don't know where my phone is right now.
Wait, I have one. Here we
Okay.
go. Here
Perfect.
we go. Look at this.
So, as always, Don will go first.
Boom. 10 minutes. And we start. Okay. Dolemite is my name. Starring Eddie Murphy. It's also got Wesley Snipes, Keegan-Michael Key. It's got Mike Epps. What's his name? Burris.
Burgess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say this: great movie, great movie. It was great in that I'm not saying it's a cinema masterpiece or anything, but it's a great movie in that it was a lot of fun to watch. It was funny. It was kind of it had heart. It had some cool kind of heartfelt moments, but basically it was like a feel good story about a guy who made some of the most foul records in some movies that weren't exactly technically great, but people just loved them anyway, and they still love watching them anyway, because when you watch them now, they're kind of goofy, they're kind of funny, they're off kilter, but you just love watching them anyway. It's sort of like when people watch The Room. You watch some Dolomite films because you're going to get some of that weirdness in it. But Dolomite is my name with Eddie Murphy. It's really good. I was actually I was hoping it was going to be as good as I thought, and when it was, I was like, wow, this is really a fun movie to watch, and that's what comes through. And I think anybody that watches it will feel the same way. Now since it's on Netflix, thankfully you don't have to worry about going to the theater and paying money. But if it was still in the theater, I'd pay money for this because it was funny and had a good time. And for those who might not know anything about Dolomite, this will give you a kind of a Cliff Notes sort of his story. It's not the whole thing. There's still a lot more to his life and his career, but it'll kind of give you the Cliff Notes version, enough to get you started, peeking into to find out more about him, especially his comedy albums. Man, he did a slew of those, and I think he only did like 7 or 8 movies, but he did way more of the comedy albums. But yeah, it's a good time. I highly recommend it, and a thumbs up for me. If I was to give it a 1 to 10 number, it'd be a solid 8 at least, because it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little surprised because Eddie Murphy usually his fun movies have been more on the like the family movies, the kids side.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say this is a family movie, but the story and the themes though in this movie, there's a good family theme, and it almost in a sense maybe could have played that way, but it does sort of have like its feel good moments. So I was a little like, oh, this is it went a little bit different thematically than I thought it would, but it works. I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah. I think this movie was so interesting from a filmmaker standpoint. Like, it really spoke to me, like this guy on the grind,
Yeah.
and just, trying so many different ways and avenues to break in, and never giving up on his belief that he had something to offer that people would want. And just whatever, beg, borrow, and steal, like buying
Absolutely.
or like using this old hooker hotel
Hmm.
in on trade. They were going to clean up the hotel so they could shoot in it as a set, and finding film school students and learning as they go, to how to make this thing happen. And I really appreciated that. Wesley Snipes was so good in this.
Yeah,
This movie did have a limited theatrical release, which means
it
that
did, right?
it
Yeah.
did because they want to qualify. And like, I would not be surprised. I
Oh,
would not be surprised if Snipes didn't get like a supporting nomination for this. Like, it's
he definitely should, and Eddie should get something as well.
like, I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if, like, people might be surprised, but I would not be surprised because he's overdue anyway. Um, for an Academy Award in general. I know everybody like says a lot about Snipes, but he's got a lot of talent, and it was nice to see him relaxed and like not in that like trying to be action, trying to be hard
Hmm.
weirdness that he can like. He's really funny. Like, you go back and you watch Tu Wong Fu, like Wesley
Oh, he
Snipes
was
is
good in that. Yeah,
really funny.
yeah, he was really good in
Um,
that. Yeah.
and he's really funny in this. All the cast, they were really good, really solid. I can't remember the woman who played the what was her name? Lady Reese.
Yeah. Oh,
I
gosh.
can't remember her name, but I hadn't seen her before, but she was so good, and I feel like an a-hole because I don't remember her name. But I'll put it in the notes at the bottom of
Yep.
like every episode when I list the cast. I would say this movie is definitely worth full ticket price. So you're getting a deal that it's on Netflix and you can just
Oh,
watch it.
big time.
This is definitely a theater
Oh,
quality movie.
Divine Joy Randolph.
Divine Joy
She's Lady
Randall.
Reed,
Thank you.
and look,
Yes.
and Craig
Craig
Robinson was
Robinson
great.
was in it.
Titus
Oh yeah,
Burgess
Titus
was
Burgess
great.
was
Yeah,
great. He's always great.
yeah.
Snoop Dogg had a turn.
Even
Um,
in his Snoop's little role, he was good.
his, his
He was
little
good.
role.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about Dolemite. I mean, I knew Dolemite the movies, but I didn't know that Dolemite was like a folk hero. It was like the aristocrat.
Exactly.
Like, it
Exactly.
was this story that old men would tell themselves and like and compound on it and add on it and like amplify it, and like they
That's
would
the
have
learning.
versions of the
Yes.
Dolomite story. Like, it's like the aristocrats joke between comedians, where this is a joke they would tell each other, not on stage because you couldn't tell that joke on stage, but
Yeah.
it would just grow and morph, and every comedian had their own version of the aristocrats joke.
Hmm.
And so Dolomite was, I didn't realize that Dolomite was like a thing like that, like an oral tradition that was passed down,
I
because
learned that too, and
that
that's
was
the beauty
so
of this
interesting.
film. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had seen Dolomite though, the movie. And now I kind of want to go back and rewatch it through
Yeah.
this lens. I know you mentioned The Room, but Dolomite is far more watchable than The Room. I feel like Rudy Ray Moore had a lot in common with
Well, I'm mainly mentioning The Room in terms of the
the
cult-like following.
cult following and
Yeah.
your selfness attitude.
Yeah.
But I think there was like a general taste level that
Well, oh no, no, no. Yeah, Dolomite films have more production value than The Room for sure.
even though The Room spent like $3 million, it's
Yeah,
it's almost you suffer through it so you can laugh about it later as you like Dolomite. You're laughing through the movie. It is a comedy and it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is just shenanigans. Like, it's a whole movie full of shenanigans. All of them. And it's like 70s and 80s shenanigans, which were sometimes problematic, but
which were very un-PC shenanigans.
problematic shenanigans. But, just I love movies about making movies too. Like,
Hmm.
it's so interesting to see everybody's journey is different and everybody's process is different. And none are more or less valuable than anyone else's. And
Right.
go Netflix it, pop Netflix and watch it, not Netflix and chill. Like, actually watch it. It was a great movie. Everybody was solid, and I'm happy I took the time to like click on it. So,
Oh
yes.
yeah, yeah. It's a big thumbs up. Eddie, I don't know how long. I mean, in interviews he said like even 15 years ago he wanted to do it, but Rudy Ray Moore was like, nah, not really interested. But I'm glad he finally did it, and thankfully, actually I'm really glad he went with Netflix, because I have a feeling if he went traditional studio route, I don't know how they might have changed it, but I don't know. Studios are just funny that way, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm glad Netflix. I have a feeling because he went Netflix, he got to tell the story the way he wanted to, and
Right.
I'd just be afraid that the studio would have come in and might have told him, oh, it's not gritty enough, or it's not
Right.
some other
Right.
nonsense.
Right.
Whereas you watch it, and like I said again, it's really a feel good story. Like, all these characters are like nice characters with heart that are trying to do. They all have this dream, and they're all putting everything. They're all into it to go after it. And a lot of times, it's just good to see, especially. Oh,
Is that
oh, oh! It's the
that's
Shaft theme.
that's nice, nice.
But it's just good to see some people just giving their all, especially to do a movie, and make it and leave you feeling, good at the end, especially when they premiered it, and
Right.
that was such a cool scene. So I'm very pleased, and Eddie's on this resurgence now. He's going to be doing Saturday Night Live on Christmas, and then he said he's coming back to stand up, and wow, when that stand up actually happens, and Lord knows who is bidding to actually show it, but I think Netflix
I think
probably
Netflix probably has it because
has.
they are burning money like it's going out of style.
I would not be surprised if they pay Eddie damn near $100 million.
I don't know where they're getting the money from,
But
but
look at they paid Chappelle 60 for his specials, and it was well worth the money, in my opinion.
yeah,
But we're talking Eddie Murphy, and the amount of people that I think Netflix's service will probably crash.
yeah, I think people would get Netflix to see that.
Wow, yeah, for sure.
All right,
For
Don,
sure.
tell them where they can find us.
Yes, where you can find us. So listen, first things first, if you're watching us now, I need you to go down below. I need you to first subscribe, and then I need you to hit that bell to get notifications for whenever we do our 10-minute takes. But to make it easy for you, we have conglomerated everything under one roof, and that is tcatnetwork.com. That's where you'll find the links to our 10-minute takes here on YouTube. That's where you'll also find links to our TCAT podcast. You'll find links to also Good Morning Antioch, as well as the reading, all right there at tcatnetwork.com. We can't make it easier, so bookmark that site, make it a favorite. Definitely, keep checking back with it every so often to see when a new podcast episode is up. But if you've subscribed here and you hit the bell, you're going to get notifications for whenever we do one of our 10-minute takes and upload it to YouTube. And as always, we ask our tens of listeners, let us know what you think in the comments, give suggestions for other movies, give us any kind of feedback you want, and we will make sure to respond and do as you ask, time willing. I say time willing because Lord knows the rest of this adulting stuff is tiring to do. So
There's
once
so
we get
much.
like Netflix or Hulu or some studio paying us to go watch their films and do these 10-minute takes, man, we're going to be knocking these things out left and right.
All the time.
All the time. So if they're listening, hey man, like step on it, guys. We're right here, But until then, we have to deal with the rest of the world. Ugh.
All right.
So yes, hope you enjoyed it. Again, Dolemite's my name.
Dolemite
Absolutely
is
watch
my name.
it.
Solid movie. Solid.
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 Right on.
All right.